Your computer may be recording your daily life right now, and Microsoft never made that choice truly clear to you. This is not about malware. It is not about hackers. It is not about shady third-party software running in the background. This behavior comes from the operating system itself. Across personal laptops, office desktops, and shared family computers, Windows quietly logs how machines are used. On systems running Windows 10 and Windows 11, a built-in feature tracks activity in ways most users never knowingly approve. The name sounds harmless. Activity, history. Behind that label is a detailed record of your digital routine. Apps you open, files you access, documents you edit, websites you visit using Microsoft Edge. Each action is time-stamped and written into a local database hidden deep inside the system. Most people never turn this feature on. Many never even see the option. It operates by default, buried behind layers of settings few users are encouraged to explore. This is not speculation or theory. The data lives inside a file called ActivitiesCache.db. It was introduced in April 2018 with Windows Timeline. When security researchers examined it, they found a surprisingly precise log of user behavior. Not summaries, not vague trends, real entries that reconstruct how a computer is used minute by minute. Accessing it does not require advanced skills. Anyone with local access can read it. A technician, a coworker, a shared user account, even basic malware designed to harvest behavioral data. This quiet data collection is one reason privacy regulators across Europe have examined Microsoft's practices for years. The concern is not only what is collected, but how silently it happens, and how unclear consent really is. Today, you are going to see where this file is stored. You will see what it contains. You will see how easily your digital habits can be reconstructed, and you will learn how to remove it permanently. Because what your operating system remembers about you should be your decision, not a default choice you never knowingly made. When Microsoft launched Windows Timeline in the April 2018 update, the company framed it as a productivity breakthrough. Timeline was designed to help you jump back in time up to 30 days to find apps, documents, and websites you were working on across all your devices. Open your task view, scroll back through your digital day, and instantly resume what you were doing on another machine. It sounded like Apple Time Machine for Windows, except instead of file backups, it tracked your behavior. Microsoft explained that activity history would sync across devices if you signed in with a Microsoft account. That meant your work on your desktop could appear on your laptop, your tablet, even your phone if you used Microsoft Edge or certain apps. The feature relied on cloud synchronization through Microsoft servers, which required sending activity data to the company. But Microsoft assured users the feature was optional. You could turn it off in settings under Privacy and Activity History. The technical foundation was simple. Windows would log every app launch, every file open, every browser session into a local database called ActivitiesCache.db. The file format was SQLite, an industry-standard database used by thousands of applications. The timeline would read from this database to display your recent activities visually. If you enabled Cloud Sync, Windows would also upload a copy of this activity data to Microsoft servers for cross-device access. It was marketed as seamless, helpful, and entirely under your control. Except researchers quickly discovered the reality was far messier. Security analysts and digital forensic experts began examining ActivitiesCache.db shortly after Timeline launched, and what they found raised immediate red flags. The database did not just store vague summaries. It contained precise timestamps down to the second, full file paths, application names, window titles, and in many cases, website addresses and document names. Every action was cataloged with forensic-level detail. Even more concerning, the database was stored locally in an unencrypted format. Anyone with physical access to your computer, or anyone who gained remote access through malware, could simply navigate to that folder, copy the ActivitiesCache.db file, and walk away with a complete record of your digital behavior for the past 30 days. No password required, no system alert triggered. The file was just sitting there, readable by any SQLite viewer, many of which are free and open source. Forensic researchers began using ActivitiesCache.db as a primary evidence source in investigations. They could reconstruct timelines of user behavior, identify what files were accessed when, trace browsing habits, and even correlate activities across multiple sessions. One forensic guide noted that attackers using techniques like Windows Sandbox to exfiltrate data would often leave traces in ActivitiesCache.db, recording process execution timestamps and file interactions even when other forensic artifacts were wiped clean. To test the extent of data capture, security professionals ran simple experiments. They opened a web browser, typed a fake credit card number into a test form, saved a document with a sensitive file name, and launched several applications in sequence. Then they opened ActivitiesCache.db using DB Browser for SQLite, a free tool anyone can download. Every single action was logged. The browser session, the document name, and the app launches are all timestamped and categorized by activity type. You probably think, I do not let strangers touch my laptop, so this does not affect me. But that assumption ignores how data leaks actually happen. Malware does not need physical access. Ransomware, spyware, and remote access Trojans routinely exfiltrate files from compromised systems. If your computer is infected, ActivitiesCache.db becomes a treasure trove. Attackers do not need to install keyloggers or screen capture tools. The operating system has already done the logging for them, and because the file is updated continuously, even a brief infection window can capture days or weeks of activity data. European data protection authorities took notice quickly. By 2019, Microsoft was already facing a general data protection regulation investigation led by the Irish Data Protection Commission at the request of Dutch authorities over Windows 10 telemetry and data collection practices. The investigation focused on whether Microsoft default settings constituted lawful data processing, whether users were adequately informed about what data was being collected, and whether the company was adhering to data minimization principles required under that regulation. The United Kingdom Information Commissioner Office announced in May 2024 that it was investigating Microsoft regarding safeguards to protect user privacy, emphasizing the importance of transparency in data usage and the necessity of processing personal data solely for specific purposes. The office stressed that data protection should be a priority from the start, with thorough risk assessments conducted before launching products. While these investigations have not resulted in public fines specific to ActivitiesCache.db, they underscore a pattern of regulatory concern about Microsoft's approach to user data. Privacy advocates and digital rights organizations have repeatedly pointed out that activity history collection potentially conflicts with core principles of the European regulation. The rules require that personal data collection be limited to what's necessary for a specific purpose, that users give informed consent, and that companies implement privacy by design. But activity history was enabled by default in early versions, meaning users were opted in without explicit action. Even when users disabled the visible timeline feature, researchers discovered that ActivitiesCache.db continued to be populated in some configurations. This matters because the type of data activity history collects falls squarely into categories that those rules consider sensitive. Health information viewed in a browser. Financial documents are opened in a folder. Legal correspondence accessed through an app. These are not abstract data points. They are detailed records of personal, professional, and private behavior. So what does this actually mean for real people? Let's consider some realistic scenarios. Not fabricated victims, but plausible examples based on documented risks. Imagine a person escaping domestic violence who uses a shared family computer to research shelters, legal aid, and safe housing options. Every search, every website visit, every document opened is logged in ActivitiesCache.db with precise timestamps. If their abuser gains access to that computer for even a few minutes, that entire escape plan is exposed. Not through browser history, which can be cleared, but through a system file most people do not even know exists. Consider a journalist working with confidential sources on a sensitive investigation. They receive encrypted files via secure channels, open documents for brief periods, and communicate through privacy-focused platforms. But before encryption kicks in, before the secure channel is established, Windows has already logged the file path, the app used, and the timing of access in ActivitiesCache.db. If that journalist's laptop is seized at a border crossing or stolen during travel, that activity log provides a roadmap of exactly what they were working on and when. Or think about a therapist who uses a Windows laptop to take session notes and access patient records through a web portal and review treatment documents. Health privacy law requires strict protection of patient health information. But if that device is compromised by malware, or if the device is lost or stolen, ActivitiesCache.db contains timestamps and file paths that could reveal which patients were seen when, what documents were accessed, and how long each session lasted. That is a compliance nightmare and a direct patient privacy violation. These are not theoretical. The categories of risk are well documented: health information, financial data, legal privilege, trade secrets. Any of these, when logged in an unencrypted local database, becomes a vulnerability. Microsoft has made changes in response to criticism, but the fundamental problem remains. In Windows 11, Microsoft removed the activity history settings page from the privacy and security menu, starting with certain builds in 2024. The company also deprecated the option to send activity history to Microsoft servers via updates, released in January of that year. On the surface, these changes suggest Microsoft is phasing out Timeline and its associated data collection. But here is what researchers have confirmed still happens. The ActivitiesCache.db file continues to be created and populated on Windows 11 systems, even in recent builds. One user testing Windows 11 IOTLTSC noted that the Connected Devices platform folder still contains an active ActivitiesCache.db file that tracks almost everything done on the computer, The file structure has not changed. The data collection has not stopped. What changed is that Microsoft made it harder to find the settings to disable it. When users do locate the old settings, they discover that activity history is often protected by nothing more than basic account credentials. No biometric authentication required. No device encryption is enforced by default. No automatic purge of old data. The file just sits there, accumulating records until a user manually deletes it or the 30-day rolling window pushes out the oldest entries. Here is a striking comparison. Your entire month of digital activity, every file, every app, every website is protected by the same security as your Windows account password. If someone cracks that password, guesses your personal identification number, or uses a bootable USB drive to bypass login, they have instant access to ActivitiesCache.db. No additional barrier exists. Your privacy rests on a single layer of defense that millions of users leave weak or reuse across multiple accounts. So what can you actually do about this? Start by deleting the existing activity log. Press Windows plus R, open the Run dialog, type %local app data, %/connected devices platform, open the first folder you see, find ActivitiesCache.db and the related files, delete them, and empty your recycle bin. Next, turn off future activity tracking. On Windows 10, go to Settings, Privacy, Activity, History, and turn off the options that store your history on the device and send it to Microsoft. On Windows 11, you may need to use Group Policy or Registry Editor to disable publish user activities at the system level, then reduce other data collection. In Settings, open Privacy and Security, Diagnostics and Feedback, and switch to required diagnostic data to limit what is sent. You can also go to privacy.microsoft.com, sign in, and clear your online activity history so Microsoft servers hold less about you. For extra safety, make sure your account password is strong and unique, and turn on multi-factor authentication wherever possible to make unauthorized access harder. Regularly updating Windows and your security tools also reduces the chance that malware can reach and copy this hidden activity file. After a few days, check the Connected Devices platform folder again. If ActivitiesCache.db is back or growing, your changes did not fully apply, and you may need to repeat the advanced steps, especially on work or school devices. If you use a corporate machine, talk to your administrator, because company policies can override some of these privacy settings and keep activity logging enabled behind the scenes. Your operating system no longer works only for you. It also works for the company. Convenience features come with a hidden data cost, and ActivitiesCache.db is proof that privacy is no longer the default. Treat it as an ongoing process, not a one-time fix, and review your privacy settings every few months as updates roll out and new features appear. So choose. Either delete your ActivitiesCache.db file and disable activity history now, or share this with someone who has no idea this file exists and tell which choice you made. Knowing is not enough. Action is what protects you. Your data, your rules, so go and take it back. Like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you never miss our latest tech breakdowns.